Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Merry Christmas, guys. Hope you're all having a fantastic and wonderful, magical family Christmas, enjoying good food, good drink, and even better company. I myself am at home having a quiet family Christmas with my wonderful wife and 3 children, and a 10-month-old baby's first Christmas, so couldn't be happier. A little bit rough around the edges, guys, a bit ill as well the last few days with a stinking cold, so forgive me if I sound a bit crazy with my vocals today, but the show must go on. Wow, we have some amazing true encounter stories sent in by a lot of my friends and subscribers, some updates to situations, and some brand new encounters. I'm sure you guys are going to really enjoy the next few days. I hope you do. Of course, please do let us know down below in the comment section every time what you thought. Of course, please do like and share. If you haven't subscribed to DMT, please smash that subscribe button. Your support is more than welcome, and we really do like to welcome you to the DMT family. Don't forget, guys, I've opened up a private group over on Facebook titled DMT's Cabin in the Woods. Make sure you head over to there, send in a friend request, and join the family for some exclusive pictures and just some great topics and discussions. Great bunch of people over there. Look forward to seeing you there. Without further ado, let's get into tonight's story that was sent in by one of my subscribers, an update to a story I did 3 months ago, and it was from Tucson to Phoenix and the Skinwalker pack. Well, there's been an update, guys, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy this update. Without further ado, let's get straight into that. Sent in by my anonymous subscriber. I'd like to entitle Time to Go Back. Let's get straight into that. Greetings once again, DMT. I hope this reaches you in great spirits. To get right into it, a few months ago I reached out to you about the Skinwalker encounter I had in Tucson, Arizona last year. This year has turned everything upside down for me, for what has happened within the last year. After discussing it with those involved and the locations, they gave me permission to share this next story along with the next few after we discuss on what the details to share. So today, I share what happened after Tucson, Arizona. To introduce myself, my name is Oscar. So, we shall begin where it began. So here goes. 2000 hours, March 2017. I'm back in Georgia and have been home for some months now. I'm with a group of friends at a lounge, eating, drinking, and entertaining a group of friends, along with the people they met at the bar. When my best friend taps me on the shoulder to let me know that my phone has rung a few times, indicating that I've missed calls. You know, to this day, I wonder how things would have been if I just ignored him and just went on with my night. Those missed calls were from my brother, Jay, who called me to tell me that his father-in-law, who we shall call Red, needs to talk to me as soon as possible, and that it's very important. So, of course, thinking the worst, I step outside and go to my car to see what all the fuss was about. You see, I haven't really talked to Jay and Red about the encounter. A few months ago, we all agreed that we shouldn't talk or bring it up to others. Red is an elder of the Navajo Nation, which also is a well-connected man. Him and I discuss about a friend that wants to speak to me in person as soon as possible about the encounter and when I am available to meet up. I thought this friend of his was full of bullshit and just wanted to get a story bull hell. If a friend of his was willing to fly me out, then I would tell him my encounter. Within 48 hours, I was on a plane to Phoenix, then a car ride to Tucson. At this point, I was getting uneasy and a bit uncomfortable being here again. My brother Jay was the one who picked me up and took us to the warehouse outside the town. Here is where Red was waiting for our arrival. Moments later, a man walks outside to greet us and wastes no time to introduce himself. Abraham. He goes on to tell me how him and Red have been friends for a long time. Tells me about his career, tells me about a degree, This dude was way more talkative than I could ever imagine. Then he asked me about my encounter, and I shared it with him exactly all that I remembered. What took me by surprise is that he had this look, a look of belief. He believed everything that I told him. He then asked me if I would join him and his team to trek back into the area for an expedition. He shared that the local villagers have been having encounters and people have been going missing. I immediately turned that down, not only but told him, "You've lost your fucking mind," thinking I would go back. Yeah, right. He then tells me him and his team are well equipped for this expedition and well armed, and that I won't have to be unarmed. Still, I felt uncomfortable, as well as the wrong person to be on this part of the team, and that I'm the wrong person for this, entirely for this trip. He cuts me off by saying, "Son, you and I both know that there are things that can't be explained and shouldn't exist, and you happen to be part of those things that have not only seen one, but wounded one." Red and Jay say their goodbyes to us before they drive off, but it was weird. They had this look to them. Not a look of fear or scared, but a look of worriness. If I knew then what I know now, I would have suspected something. I was so deep in thought until Abraham said, "Let's go. There's some people you need to meet." We make our way inside and, oh shit, from the outside it looks like an abandoned warehouse, but inside was a team of people all working, computers, tables, screens, so many questions going on in my head. Who's running the show? Who is paying for all of this? What are we doing? And who are all of these people? We step aside where a group of men were laughing and joking. "Now, DMT, I need you for a bit because these guys, they're a handful. A bunch of loose cannons, sociopaths. And now, for the crew." Abraham. Picture yourself a Caucasian man in his early 50s. Abraham is a former paleontologist who travelled to the world for nearly 25 years researching, discovering, tracking species all over the world. This guy made a fortune not only with his career, but finding and collecting things for collectors around the globe. It was all work, fun and games until one night in the mountains in Russia, when looking for treasure, this creature had the body of a man, but features of a wolf. He described the speed, the intelligence, strength and tactics that this creature possesses was unbelievable. So unbelievable that everything he knew and believed in completely turned his life upside down, killing his entire team, with him left to set his campsite on fire, scaring the creature off, giving him a chance to escape. Which brings me to our next member of the team, Utah, a former Russian Spetsnaz and Abraham's best friend and right-hand man. The following morning, Abraham managed to make his way to a village seeking help. What shocked him was the villagers believed him, and not only that, but knew about the creature. With his wealth and connections, he managed to hire a group of big game hunters and a 4-man Russian Spetsnaz team. They made their way back just before sunset, set up a perimeter and engaged this creature. By sunrise, and after shooting and wounding this creature, causing it to bleed out and die, only 2 men were left, Abraham and Utah. And from that day, they vowed to search, track, find and kill whatever creature they came across. After both fail at coming forward to the public to show and prove what they encounter, they were ridiculed with laughter. The worst part was 6 of those that were part of Abraham's team were students that were weeks away from graduating with guilt and depression of this. Abraham left his life's work and career to prevent this from ever happening again. Up next is Santos. Honestly, I really can't stand this guy. He's a real piece of shit. Santos is a high-ranking member in the drug cartel. It was the first expedition when they were searching for the witches in the mountains of Monterrey, Mexico, when Abraham and Utah were in need of weapons, when they teamed up with members of the cartel. Santos serves as the tradesman and negotiators. You name it, he has access to it. Guns, drugs, extortion, racketeering, smuggling, prostitution, gold, diamonds. You name it, he has it. I really can't stand him. He brags about how he has taken advantage of those in poverty, pregnating and abusing and leaving numerous women, and how he's taken advantage of the poor of the villages. He just bothers me, and after an altercation we had, let's just say he learned to shut up and keep his distance. Books, our intel guy. He gathers our info we need and sets up our perimeter. Cameras, night vision, motion detectors, solar power supplies, the geeky stuff that gives us an advantage. Myself, who they later call Zombie, since I was able to stay awake for days at a time keeping watch. As for the rest of the team, they're all military veterans and big game hunters. Sunshine. He's our medic and the pretty boy of the group. He reminds me of Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys. Dynamite. He's our weapons and explosive expert, the MacGyver of the team. Machine. This man can fix, fly, drive everything he gets his hands on. His wife gave him that name, and you can only guess why. Catch my drift. Razor. He got his name fighting ISIS fighters. Cowboy. A big game hunter from Texas. He hates it when I call him Walker Texas Ranger. Chief. An expert tracker with 15 years of experience. HD. Our marksman and deadly accurate with his 50 BMG. And saving the best for last, Crazy Chris. I swear this son of a bitch is a complete psychopath himself. 6'5", 310 pounds. Chris is a loose cannon. I honestly believe he was dropped on his head on purpose when he was born and raised by wolves. Just last month we were in Nigeria searching for the hyena men when we were ambushed by poachers, and Chris engaged his team of poachers, killing and setting them on fire. The worst part about him is that he has multiple personalities. Yeah, Crazy Chris. He's my boy, but he's got issues. It was this team gathering supplies and setting up the vehicles to take off to our coordinates locations. Our ride there was full of jokes and laughter. The stories they shared with me completely blew me away. How they all met, what encounters they had, stories from the Bigfoots they killed in Canada, catching giant crocodiles in Indonesia, fighting pirates off the east coast of Somalia. The stories went on and on. We travelled south of Tucson, took a dirt path west for 15 miles and hiked 4 miles north. Once to our locations, shortly after 1600 hours, we set up a camp, a perimeter and floodlights. Once we all finish and begin to relax, Abraham gathers us all together and explains what we're dealing with. For the past few weeks, local villagers have been getting a rise in attacks and missing people, believing that the cause behind all of this are a clan of skinwalkers. Now, I never believed too much wholesome magic, spirit powers, black magic mumbo jumbo bullshit. I went on to share my story with the team and describing the same thing that the villagers also face. What took me by surprise is that it was around the same time as my encounter. Books went on with the details about what we're going up against and what we're using. We set up our site 3 miles from where we suspected where this clan would be. Abraham, Utah, HD, Chris, Razor trek off at 1900 hours while the rest of us stay behind to finish setting up. Sunshine and I dug 2 rings around our campsite, 2 feet deep and 15 yards apart. Outside ring we filled with gasoline to provide us with a wall to separate us. With the inside ring, dynamite filled it with explosives as a last resort to ditch the area. While maintaining communication over radios, we were all taken by surprise when we heard "Contact, contact" over the radio, then the sound of gunfire, then silence. Abraham radioed in that they were coming back and be prepared. 2100 hours they returned. They shared how they came across dead animal carcasses and odd footprints when Chris, who was watching their 6th position, saw something sneaking up to them and fired at it, wounding it. In a matter of seconds they made their way to where it was finding blood, but losing the blood trail when they followed it. Hearing incoming from a distance, they decided to make the way back to camp. We clearly underestimated what numbers they had, and by what ammunition we were using, it was not doing the job. Utah stated that there was no use for us to look for them They will now come for us. We spent the remainder of the night preparing defence and offence, digging more rings around the campsites and filling them with gasoline and explosives, switching our ammunition to armour-piercing and incendiary. Smoke bombs, flashbangs, bear traps, fire, explosives. Shit was about to go down. There was a very little talk and no lights for giving away our position. By midnight, our campsite was set and we were ready. All was normal until about 0300 hours. Everything went silent, and I mean everything. It was amazing, as if every living thing just evacuated the area, as if they knew something was moving in. HD was perched up on a boulder, radioed in that he was getting movement from the north, with the team in position north waiting to engage. We weren't going out to them, they would come to us. They began to screech and howl like coyotes and mountain lions, as if they were communicating and checking our defence. We were so focused that we were taken by surprise when Chris began firing to the east. "It's a distraction!" shouted HD. "They're sneaking up behind us." Dynamite set the ring of fire to give us a light and a wall. "I need you for a second." The bit of light from the fire only reached a few yards, giving us these set of eyes all around us. We were surrounded. I stopped counting at 12 set of eyes. We stopped firing as if time stopped itself. They stayed just outside the light, only giving their eyes for us to see. From all of this, one step forward, this thing. It looked like a coyote, but its body and features were off. Its limbs were different size, one bigger than the others. Imagine every infection and disease you've ever heard of and put it into this thing. Then jerk it up fast, leaning back and forth as if it was trying to find its balance, twitching and jerking its body as if it was trying to figure out how to use its body. This was clearly the alpha of the clan. For the first time, terror came to me. I never felt so helpless. In my head, I'm imagining how my limbs are getting ripped off and my head getting ripped off. We are all in shock and disbelief that no one even made one move. You can see the fear and colour drain from everyone in the team. The alpha takes a step forward, and right when we felt the worst, we all heard the shots and we knew it was from him. HD had just fired his 50 BMG. We watched as the alpha was hit dead centre in the neck, stepping back, causing it to fall on its back. There was a moment of relief that was until one by one, the remainder of the clan began to leap upward, standing up and taking a step forward. Abraham shouted, "Engage! Engage!" From that point on, it was non-stop shooting. Abraham, Utah, Sunshine, Razor were on their Sega 12 shotguns. Santos, Machine, Chris Cowboy and Chief and I were at AR-15s. Brooks was tossing smoke bombs to the east, south and west to keep them from going around and coming behind us, while tossing flashbangs to the north. Dynamite was setting off explosives as they got closer to the campsite, and HD was on his 50 BMG. He was firing it like it was a full auto machine gun. Back to back in a circle, we fired one magazine after another. I was starting to think, man, how did we get into this shit? And I felt it. I ran out of ammunition, shouting, trying to grab the attention of anyone, trying to reload, and then I heard the screams. Somehow, one of these things managed to sneak around and tackle Brooks, dragging him away into the night. Somehow, Cowboy and Chief also went missing. Utah later mentioned they both were there 1 second, then he heard a grunt and then they were gone. At this point, the clan managed to get within 40 yards of us. Out of ammo and 3 of our team members missing, Abraham ordered to blow the ring with explosives. Man, I watched as Santos, who was just outside the light of fire, get tackled to the ground right before the explosives went off, killing him instantly. Once the smoke cleared and our conscious were back, it was clear. This was a slaughter. Blood, fur, spent ammunition everywhere. This was a complete mess. We found the remainder of Santos' body as well as what was left of Brooks, Chief and Cowboy were nowhere to be found. There was nothing left and nothing we could do. By 0700 hours, the sun had fully risen, gathering the bodies and identification of Santos, Books, Cowboy and Chief to take with us. Off for what was left of the clan, we gather what was left and burn them. Abraham gave the order for us to leave and only take the guns and ammo and the bodies of our team. A few hours later, we were all back where we parked at. Abraham looked at me and said, "We made it out, son. Now you and everyone can be at peace." Made our way back to the warehouse and the team said their farewells and I was off to the airport to go back home. There's not much to say anymore about Arizona. We went out to look for a clan of skinwalkers. We were successful, but at a cost. We lost 4 members of the team. I only went on 2 more expeditions with Abraham and the team to the Appalachian Mountains and Nigeria, which once the team gives the okay to share, I will share with you, DMT. As for Arizona, I haven't been back ever since then, and honestly, I never want to step foot back in Arizona ever again. Wow, hope you guys enjoyed that absolutely incredible update there from our subscriber. Apologies once again, as I say, I'm under the weather at the moment, so my voice is in and out of tone. Please do let me know what you thought down below in the comments section. Of course, please do like and share, and above all, have a Merry Christmas and be safe, not sorry.